Chapter 31. The Problem, Ahsoka Tano. You know, I've really got to hand it to Master Yoda. Even when me and Katuni did absolutely nothing wrong other than get thrown through a wall made of ice by an unknown animal, he still managed to find the way to punish us. It was all you should have made it out in time and a bunch of other reasons for him to punish us. On the bright side, I have a good reason to thank Katuni. She told Master Yoda that Pedro had left her to die in the cave, and he was pretty much doomed after that. He couldn't lie because Master Yoda sensed it in a heartbeat, and then when he tried to stain our reputations for being late, it was all over. So, that's how me and Katuni ended up cleaning the Jedi starfighters in the hangar for the Jedi Council yesterday afternoon. Another good thing that happened was that when I got back to Anakin's room, since my own is still off limits to everyone, including me, it was past 10, and he sent me to bed straight away. It was kind of awkward to be around him now that I know who he is. Every youngling knows the legend of the Chosen One, meaning that every Jedi does too, and I can quite honestly say that he is not what I imagined. Well, aside from the all-powerful bit. You see, I imagined the Chosen One would be like Master Yoda except more tall, calm, sophisticated and wise beyond his years. I did not expect him to be an arrogant, cocky, impatient and hot-headed force wielder who prefers to spend his time beating Master Kenobi at board games than focusing on destroying the Sith. Speaking of which, how's he supposed to do that in another galaxy? As you can probably tell, when I woke up this morning I was not tired enough to completely forget the whole Domitium Semino situation like I did last night. I was so out of it that the moment my head hit the pillow my world went blank. Pretty handy in certain situations but not in this one. Though, there may be an upside to this. Katuni has to be pretty worn out too, so she might have forgotten all about the protection field that I very briefly explained, which is to say, I didn't explain it all. So, today as I lay in my bed staring at the ceiling thinking of the many ways to first approach the subject of me being a Domitium Semino and then to go after Pedro the pompous prat with something that he will never, ever forget. I keep wondering why Anakin could tell Master Kenobi, Master Plo, Master Windu and Master Yoda about this, but not me. I mean, he doesn't even like any of the Jedi Masters other than Master Kenobi who used to be his master. You think that when people lock you inside of a room just because you're different than telling them something and not telling the person who accidentally left said room unlocked after running in would be one of the things you never do. I was rather surprised when Master Plo started giving me a lecture on dangerous beings, and all because I didn't relock the door to Anakin's room after I went in the first time. That's how he kept letting people in, although I have no idea why he didn't just walk out. Probably something to do with keeping neutral and all that. Yawning into my fist, I throw back the covers and stand up. My neck cracks a little as I do so since it is really stiff today. Speaking of which, I keep repeatedly thanking the Force that I still have a neck today. After that animal, which no one has identified as far as I know, appeared in the cave, I was certain that me and Katuni were dead. The protection spell helped me since I went through solid stone, but I'm guessing that Katuni didn't need it since she went through the ice wall instead, and that was much better than me. Although, I suppose I did sort of go through it too, but most of me went through solid stone. So I definitely had more of a pain experience than she did. When I hear someone cursing vehemently in the next room I from and quickly depart the room that I am staying in without making the bed. Personally, I don't see the point in it. It's just going to get messy again, so it's really just a big waste of time. I walk into the lounge to find Anakin sat on the couch watching what appears to be a pod racing show on the holonet. From the looks of things, his favorite racer is losing or someone has made a wrong move that he just had to comment on. Anyway, I've learned to just ignore him when he gets like this, but I doubt that Master Kenobi ever got the message. I say that because Master Kenobi happens to be sat on the other couch with his arms crossed over his chest, scolding Anakin for his swearing right now. Honestly, Anakin, what if Ahsoka wakes up and hears you? He asks with a disapproving stare. Oh, if that's your problem then you can put your merry mind at ease, Obi-Wan. Ahsoka woke up 2 minutes ago. See? She's standing in the doorway right now. Anakin says without taking his eyes off the holoscreen. Master Kenobi turns around in his seat and I can see his face clearly. He has a few back-to-stick-on bandages on his face, and even more on the rest of his body. I'm guessing that things didn't go too well on Sereno even though Starkiller was here instead. Good morning, Ahsoka. He says to me in a tone that he used to use when I was a youngling. It had to have been a few hours after one of his missions, and I quite literally bumped into him whilst trying to run around as fast as a 3-year-old can. Rather embarrassing actually. Good morning, Master Kenobi. I reply. You didn't hear what Anakin just said, did you? I shake my head once. There's this agreement that me and Anakin have where if he does something for me I do something for him. Since he helped me build my lightsaber I have to lie and say that I didn't. Hear him swear like a drunk man on Bonfire Night. Coruscant Bonfire Nights are the best because it's in celebration of the destruction of the old Sith Empire, and the only thing that Jedi younglings have to do is go out and party until the masters figure out you're gone. My record is 6.5 hours so far, but Master Plo always manages to find me. I swear the man has a tracking device on me or something. Because I know for a fact that he cannot find his way through the underworld at 11 o'clock at night. See? I told you nothing bad would come of my swearing. Anakin says triumphantly, taking his eyes off the screen for a split second, before returning to the thing that has his full undivided attention once more. Master Kenobi rolls his eyes. That is beside the point, Anakin. The point is that she could have heard you. Oh, relax, Obi-Wan. Do you know how many swear words these younglings know? It's got to be in the millions. I swear, there was a 7-year-old here who called someone who accidentally bumped him a criff. Anakin, go back to your pod racing show. Master Kenobi cuts in before any more can be said. With a disconcerted shrug, Anakin stops keeping one ear open for Master Kenobi's comments, and, as far as I can tell, puts even more focus onto the pod racing show. He winces or grimaces every time. Someone goes an inch out of line but seems rather happy when they crash and burn for it. Sometimes I just don't understand these shows. So, Ahsoka, I heard from Master Yoda that you got your lightsaber crystal at last. Master Kenobi says, turning back around to face me. He also said that you and another youngling by the name of Katuni got stuck inside of the cave before being thrown through a wall by some unknown creature. I nod. We did. He made us clean the ships in the hangar as a punishment, though. Punishment? Anakin snorts. How does the green troll come up with punishments for everything? Anakin, back to your show. Master Kenobi orders sternly, and once again Anakin goes back to watching pod racing. Anyway, what made you two slow down enough to get trapped inside of the cave? Another youngling left Katuni when she got stuck so that he could get his own crystal, and I went to help her instead. But it took too long and we got stuck, then we got thrown through a wall and Master Yoda punished us both. Are you sure you didn't do anything else? Well, Katuni didn't, but I might have started yelling at Pedro for leaving her behind, and called him a bunch of names. Ha! Told you, Obi-Wan. Younglings above the age of 6 all know swear words. Anakin says in triumph. I honestly do not know how the guy can keep listening to our conversation when he looks to be so interested in pod racing. Master Kenobi rolls his eyes at that. Why don't you go and make Ahsoka some breakfast? Actually, make some for all of us while you're at it. You owe me after misguiding me to Sereno, and I haven't eaten since I got back. But the show. Isn't there a pause button somewhere? Anakin sighs in exasperation and waves his hand at the screen, making it pause immediately. Whilst grumbling something about never getting a break, he stands up from the couch and walks into the kitchenette. I walk over to the couch and take his seat, since it is still quite cold in the mornings, and his seat is already warmed up for me. It's like having an electrically heated seat except without the fuss of setting the whole thing up. Oh, the joys of a free way to bypass problems. Now, Ahsoka, we need to talk about something. Master Kenobi says, suddenly becoming serious. Anakin told me that the Force revealed to you what we have been trying to keep a secret. I tense up slightly and my expression becomes guarded. So, Anakin had the decency to tell someone else about my finding out, but not to explain things to me. What a role model. You mean that I'm a Demitium Semino and half Force wielder? I ask. Yes, it did. Master Kenobi nods once, slowly. Yes. Well, Anakin isn't the best person at explaining things, as I'm sure you already know, so we thought it best if I explain things to you. According to what Anakin has told me, you were born in a time just before he arrived on the planet, and put an end to the empire that was hell-bent on destroying any inter-race unity. That is something that this galaxy is perfectly fine with. Do you understand why you couldn't stay there? I nod. Because I would have been killed. Correct. However, there does appear to be a side effect of having a child who is half Force wielder. Anakin wants to get you back to his planet as quickly as possible, because if you aren't there by the time you turn 11 3/4, there won't be anyone to give you the help to stop you from dying. Dying? Yes, dying. I don't half understand it myself, since it was Anakin who explained things to me, but all I know for certain is that there is a certain injection that all Force wielders get, yet they don't need it. You need it because the two different sides of you will end up fighting against one another for dominance, and this could destroy the world around you, but will definitely kill you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. I say in a quiet voice, my mind instantly counting the days until I turn 11 3/4. So, to put it bluntly, you will have to be taken back to his planet within the next 3 months, or you will die. But aren't the council going to let me go? I ask with a frown. Nothing has been decided, since it is rather difficult to believe, but I have seen Anakin do some rather unbelievable things, so this was easy for me. I am trying to get the decision pushed through quicker, and so is Master Plo. It all depends on whether or not some of the more paranoid Jedi Masters are about to let a powerful Force wielder like Anakin leave unescorted. Why bother? He could get rid of them by blinking. I point out. It seems that they simply do not want to believe that someone like him could exist. Master Kenobi says glumly. I sigh and lean back on the couch as I try to calm myself down a little. First, I had to worry about keeping my visits to Anakin a secret. Then, I had that stressful time in the competition and those strange things that kept happening around me. So, to top it all off, I'm not who I thought I was all these years, and I'm going to die if I don't get to the planet where I was born before I become 11 3/4. This has been the most stressful time of my life, and I owe it all to meeting Anakin. Well, I guess that's what happens when you go against everything that your peers tell you and visit a complete stranger out of sheer curiosity. I'm done. Anakin shouts, walking out of the kitchenette with 3 plates balanced in his arms. Or, get out of my seat. Master Kenobi gives him an exasperated look whilst I sink even further into the cushions of the sofa. Anakin, you remember that interesting piece of information you told us a couple of days ago about a Imidium Semino? Anakin eyes widen before a knowing look crosses over his face. Oh, he says in understanding. Well, in that case, I guess you get the biggest breakfast snips. I don't reply or make a sound. I just sink back as far as I can into the cushions of the sofa and try to figure out a way to process all of this in my head. A big breakfast isn't exactly going to help me with that. But it's a free galaxy mostly. Anakin sets the 3 breakfast plates down on the coffee table before arranging himself on the couch, waving his hand at the holoscreen and starting to eat. I'm not exactly offended by this since he can sense whether or not I'm in any real sadness, and right now I am just confused. He never bothers when there is only confusion and nothing else, which is okay when you can sense if any other emotions are starting to get involved the second they start to form, but it isn't exactly that good for me. The pod racing shows have never appealed to me, so it's basically the case of Anakin watching it in complete entrancement, Master Kenobi watching me with a concerned look on his face as he eats and me sat there staring into space with a blank expression. My breakfast is sat untouched on the coffee table, and I reach out to pick it up, just in case Anakin or Master Kenobi start grilling me on it. I don't need a reminder about how breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because I am telling you now, younglings, and breakfast is like carnivores and meat. You eat it whether you are awake or half asleep. It's just one of those things that happens. The first time it happened to me I thought somebody had stolen it, since I could not remember a thing. Yes. No. Oh, for the love of the Criff. Anakin. What? Anakin asks innocently, as though he has not just shouted at the screen for another pod racer going an inch out of line. They're the ones who are causing problems. Maybe if they weren't so terrible. At this I might not shout at them. Why don't you change the channel? That way I don't have to keep shouting at you, and there can be something on that we all enjoy. Master Kenobi suggests helpfully. Anakin sighs. Fine, he grumbles. We can watch a holovid about people who live by a certain code. Don't look at me like that, old man, it's not the Jedi code. I'll never stoop low enough to go by that, no. Love because it turns you to the dark side, what a load of rubbish. Waving his hand at the screen once more, the channel changes to a film that I haven't seen before. It's set before the time of speeders, lightsabers and blasters, so it must have cost about 10 credits to make. These sorts of films may seem really pathetic to some people since it was millions of years ago, but I still find it rather interesting. You don't see many of these sorts of things as a youngling, and the only reason I know about it is because of the archives. I swear, if I had a pillow, a blanket and a portable fresher I could live in there for 20 years, and no one would find me. Of course, I'd have to steal food from the kitchens to stay alive, but that's beside the point. Stealing food is also a ritual that all younglings go through. Eat your breakfast, Snips. Anakin says while scratching his arm with a pained grimace. I can't handle all of the worry right now. It's hard enough to keep this power thing in control anyway. Oh, right. I wonder why he hasn't told Master Kenobi about that yet. Well, the Jedi Master is in the room, so I guess he'll pick up on it sooner or later. Considering the fact that he's frowning right now, I'll take a wild guess and say that he's already picked up on this little detail that Anakin forgot to mention. What power thing? Master Kenobi asks in confusion. Anakin shrugs his shoulders. The power in this galaxy is unbalanced, and it's driving me insane. Especially when Starkiller is backing the dark side. He says calmly and starts to shovel food into his mouth. Master Kenobi nods and goes back to his own food and watching the whole of it. I cannot believe that Anakin was able to lie to him so easily. I've been trying to get off that easily for years and it's never worked. For me, there must be a reason for why everyone can lie and I can't. I mean, I have orange skin, so when I blush it reaches my head tails and not my cheeks, so anyone can tell when I'm lying. I'm always forced to tilt my head so that they're focusing on something other than my head tails, or they'll catch me out and I'll have to clean the bathrooms again. Just the thought of it makes me want to gag in disgust. I'm trying to eat breakfast here. Breakfast from Anakin isn't as good as when Master Kenobi makes it. I might have mentioned that before, but there you have it. I've also realized that when people make you breakfast it is usually the same type of thing. Either it's plain old cereal which tastes stale, or the rather tasty kind which you could eat for any meal of the day. The things that I don't mind are toast with butter and jam, eggs of any kind so long as they've been cooked in some way, fried bacon since my Tigreader heritage demands meat because I am a carnivore, and eggy bread, which is the one thing that Anakin makes. Master Kenobi never makes it, but I don't really mind. No one can make it like Anakin. So here's my dream meal. Anakin's eggy bread and Master Kenobi makes the rest of the meal randomly very nice. The whole of it isn't half bad if I'm honest. The main storyline is about the seventh son of the seventh son, fulfilling his destiny of ridding the world of evil, and I can't help but see the irony of it all. Our prophecy of the Chosen One is much better than this. The Force just gives us the Chosen One right off the bat, instead of forcing us to wait 14 generations for the person to be born. Well, I suppose waiting 14 years and accepting this person easily is much better than meeting the person who has the power to destroy the Sith, and then imprisoning them because you think they're dangerous. Let's get this straight. Someone who is destined to destroy the Sith is not going to destroy the Jedi too. Besides, if that does happen, then the Force really will be balanced. No one on the dark and no one on the light. PFFT. What rubbish, Anakin comments halfway through. The prophecy of the seventh son of the seventh son is fiction, and even then it was taken from an age-old village in another galaxy. People are always adopting prophecies from one another. What do you mean? I ask, curious. Well, for starters, the prophecy of the Chosen One originated from the Force wielders, and was then picked up by the Jedi Order from a vision of the Force that was caused by a drunk Force guardian after the celebration party. After that, the Sith picked up on the legend, and all got scared for a long while until this generation where they think that if they ever find the Chosen One, they can sway him to their side through manipulation. Prophecies and legends always go down through the ages. It's so common it's sickening. Anakin explains. What about the other legends and prophecies? They can't all go down through the ages, can they? Take the legend of demigods for example. It is a proven fact that the first starship to appear in this galaxy was called the Zeus, and all of your ancestors in this galaxy thought it to be some kind of god. Rubbish. I told you that Hercules was the son of Zeus because it was the starfighter that came out of the hangar first. Rather unbelievable if you ask me, but it's the truth. Honestly, the rubbish some people come up with. So there really are no such things as demigods? I question. The closest thing to a demigod in this galaxy is me. Now, let me tell you Snips, that is more of a privilege than anything in existence.